the demon that separates couples in bed. Have you ever woke up in the middle of the night feeling a strange weight on your chest, as if something invisible was holding you to bed? This phenomenon has a name: sleep paralysis. But in many cultures, the explanation goes far beyond science. Old stories tell of a dark being known as nightmare, incubus, or even the demon couple separator. The legend tells that this evil spirit takes advantage of deep sleep to sow discord between lovers. He sneaks into the darkness of the room, sits on the chest of the victims, and whispers doubts and resentments in their ears, fueling quarrels and mistrust. Many believe that their presence is felt when couples begin to move away without apparent reason, as if something invisible was pushing one away from the other in the bed itself. But is this just superstition? Or is there something darker behind these restless nights and growing silences? Let's explore the origins of this legend and try to understand what can be real in this ancestral fear. The origin of this myth dates back to ancient times, when stories about night spirits were used to explain strange sensations during sleep. One of the best-known figures is the incubus, a male demon who, according to medieval legends, invaded rooms at night to torment women and weaken love ties. Her female counterpart, the succubus, did the same with men. In some cultures, however, these spirits not only seduced or tormented, they planted seeds of mistrust and estrangement between couples. In Brazil, the belief in the demon separator couples is echoes in tales of haunting brought by European colonizers and mixed with African and indigenous mythologies. They say that it manifests itself in subtle ways: the sudden cold in bed, the feeling that the mattress sinks next to the body, or even the abrupt awakening of one of the partners while the other sleeps deeply. Interestingly, contemporary accounts of sleep paralysis present striking similarities with these old descriptions. The person wakes up but cannot move, feeling a dark presence in the room, often hovering between him and his partner. Is it just a trick of the brain, or the inheritance of an ancestral fear that still haunts us in the silent mornings? Science explains sleep paralysis as a natural phenomenon that occurs during the REM sleep phase, when the brain temporarily turns off the body's muscles to prevent sudden movements during dreams. However, the mind can awaken before the body regains control, creating the feeling of being trapped, unable to move. In this state, visual and auditory hallucinations are common: shadows in the room, whispers, or a feeling of heaviness in the chest. But why do so many people report the presence of a shadowy figure? Experts believe that this is a result of the panic state of the brain, which tries to make sense of sudden immobility by creating terrifying images. Still, the similarity between the reports over the centuries intrigues even the most skeptical. For those who believe in the supernatural, the demon couple separator acts in a subtle way. Small quarrels arise out of nowhere, the complicity dissolves, and the couple begins to sleep back to each other, as if something invisible was creating a barrier between them. In more superstitious communities, even today, protective rituals are performed, such as placing amulets under the pillow or reciting prayers before bed. Whether it is the fruit of the subconscious or the manifestation of something that escapes our comprehension, the fact is that these stories persist, crossing generations, cultures, and perhaps unmade beds. Among the most frightening reports, there are those who say that the demon couple separator is not content only in creating emotional distance. The stories are full of chilling details: shadows that slide to the walls of the room, the mattress sinking as if something invisible lay between partners, and incomprehensible whispers that hover in the air, creating an inexplicable tension. Some claim to have felt cold hands pulling the blanket in the middle of the night, driving them away from their partner. Others say that after nights of restless sleep and inexplicable quarrels, they slept back to each other, until in some cases they ended up in separate rooms, as if something pushed them in this direction. These experiences, though frightening, are not unique to a culture or an era. In Japan, there is the legend of Kanashibari, a dark spirit that immobilizes its victims during sleep, creating the feeling of a weight on the body and the presence of figure, shadowy hovering in the room. In Scandinavian traditions, they speak of the mare, a night spirit that lies on the chest of the sleeping ones, causing anguish, suffocation, and nightmares. Not by chance, the word nightmare has its origin in this old belief. In Brazil, legends of northeastern folklore speak of mocking spirits, such as the nightmare or the caboclo de mata, who enter through the cracks of the doors and hide under the bed. It is said that they have fun separating couples, blowing cold breezes between bodies, and sowing discord with low laughter that echoes in the silence of dawn. There are also reports of blessing women who, perceiving the dense energy in certain rooms, recommend rituals of protection, prayers, burning candles, and even the placing of mirrors under the mattress to ward off the evil presence. But what do all these stories have in common besides the fear of the unknown? Perhaps the marriage breaker demon is more than a supernatural entity. It can be the embodiment of something much more intimate and silent, the accumulation of resentments, unspoken words, and emotional distance that, little by little, creates an invisible barrier between two people sharing the same bed. In the end, what is most frightening may not be the presence of something invisible, but the absence of connection. In the end, the demon couple separator reflects something deeply human, fear of loss and emotional detachment. Sometimes the darkness in a room does not come from supernatural forces, but from the silence that accumulates between two people who, even lying side by side, seem to inhabit different worlds. Interestingly, relationship experts claim that the time of going to bed reveals a lot about the health of a relationship. Small gestures, such as turning your back right after you turn off the light or avoid physical contact, can be signs of emotional disconnection. And in these moments, the tired mind can create its own demons, projecting fears and insecurities into the veil of darkness. Whether it is an ancestral spirit or just a reflection of the subconscious, the demon couple separator continues to haunt rooms around the world, sometimes as a shadow in the corner of the eye, others as the absence of a touch that has gradually been lost in time. Perhaps the true protection against this presence is not in amulets or prayers, but in the courage to face what scares most. The need to reconnect, to listen, to reach out in the dark and feel that on the other side of the bed, there is still someone willing to hold. Yours. Perhaps the real antidote to this dark presence is something simple but powerful: closeness. A touch, an honest conversation, or even exchange of glances before sleep can ward off not only the invisible demons, but also those who settle in the heart. What about you? Have you ever felt something strange during the night? Do you think that all this is just stories, or believe that between sleep and waking, is there something that tries to separate us from those we love? Share your experience. Who knows what else we can find out about the shadows that roam the darkness. If you liked the video, leave your like and subscribe to the channel, and send the video to more people know this great mystery. See you later.